Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, and today I am using my electric grain mill for the first time. Do-do-do, do-do-do, vegan prepper. Do-do-do, do-do-do, vegan prepper. I do already own a manual grain mill, and I have the Country Living grain mill, and I love that thing so much. It's fantastic. It is a workhorse like you would not believe. It is incredibly good and I love it. Nothing against it whatsoever. However, for daily use, I was just sort of finding it, like it just sort of took too long. It was a little too much work to grind things by hand myself. And I couldn't see it being something that I would be doing daily if I didn't absolutely have to. So basically, first of all, I looked into mechanizing that one. And the only mechanical setup that does not void the warranty is something like over $500. Also, it makes the thing enormous. And as it, as I currently live, I don't have it out all of the time. It is a rather large mill. And yeah, it's like I said, it's fantastic. It's a workhorse, but I don't really have room to leave it out all of the time in my kitchen. And so I was thinking, gosh, over $500, I could like buy a different electric grain mill for that much. And sure enough, that's basically what I ended up doing. So I chose the Nutrimill Harvest grain mill for multiple reasons. Budget-wise, it was a decent price compared to other grain mills. Also, it's gorgeous. That's like one of the main reasons. I will be honest, I was considering getting mock mills instead. However, they were way more expensive, but also completely unavailable at the time when I purchased this, which was a few months ago. I haven't touched it since I bought it. So I'm really excited to be doing it today. So basically what I'm going to do is test this out, get it running, grind some flour, and test out the flour just sort of in a recipe I use all of the time. And I'm trying to decide right now if I want to do some biscuits or if I just want to do like a Tibetan flatbread type thing, but I'm just basically going to make a very simple flour food item of some kind that uses flour. I'm not refilming this whole thing because of that, but just something really simple, and I'll decide kind of at the end what I'm going to do with it. But let's go ahead and get it started, because the very first thing that I need to do is grind some rice to get it ready and get it kind of cleaned out before it takes the grains. All right, I'm gonna talk y'all through this like I know what I'm doing, but basically I'm just repeating the things that I saw on all of the videos and in the manual. So this thing is gonna turn on. The stones are not going to be touching. I will rotate this little central dial clockwise until the stones start touching, at which point I will go ahead and run my 2 cups of rice through the mill. And once that is complete, I will go ahead and, while the mill is still on, I will loosen those stones so they're no longer touching again, and then turn it off. Then I will disassemble it and brush little pieces that I need to brush, and then at that point I'll be able to grind some grains. And yes, I know I sound out of breath. It's because I'm doing a really deep squat to get this shot, and I'd like to see you squat this deep for this long, because this is like take 4 and not be out of breath. So basically, yeah, oh wow, that feels nice. This feels like just a cornmeal, like a nice medium kind of grit cornmeal. And so yeah, this was basically about cleaning the mill. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and toss this. It wasn't organic, so I'm not gonna compost it. But yeah, unfortunately that's just how you have to clean the mill, but this is the only time I ever have to do that. So that makes me feel a little better. But assembly is actually pretty easy. I practiced. I will admit this is the only thing I practiced just because I wanted to make sure that I had it down before I started filming. But honestly, it's like the easiest thing on earth. You just sort of push this thing right here and it pops out like that easily. And so now from this point, and I would love to get you guys a close-up shot, but here, let me pull this a little closer. Sorry, it isn't closer, but I don't think that I can do this part one-handed. So that's why I'm doing it like this. Here, let me grab my brush. And so this too just pops right out. I was really surprised at how well it did that. Let me actually just get my bowl back over here. And I'm just basically using the brush to sort of brush off the parts. And there's actually like a couple of whole pieces of rice in here. So I'm just sort of, as far as I know, you're supposed to just sort of brush out this. You're not taking out that bottom stone, you're just brushing it. And then now it's all ready for the rest of my grain. That was so easy and so fun. I cannot believe how long I've waited to do this. Stuff just comes up, and I already have flour, so sometimes it's hard to prioritize the things that I really want to do. I don't always get to do what I want. I think a lot of people think adulthood is doing what you want. Isn't it like kind of the exact opposite? I don't know. You guys can let me know. Okay, we are ready to grind the actual grain that I want to grind now. All right, I'm getting ready to grind some spelt. And so that is the first thing I'm going to put through this thing. So let's go ahead and see what happens. I imagine it's going to be much the same as the rice. So to get a finer flour though, I'm going to have to tighten this down quite a lot more, and then it ends up getting a lot slower apparently. So let's go ahead, we'll wait until it touches. Okay, that was a loud sound. I did not like that, but hey, I've got flour. It was coming out warm, so I guess that does happen. Hopefully everything is okay. And yeah, hopefully I don't like break my mill on the first try. Now I'm sure these things are built to withstand a lot. And I guess honestly, if they're meant to mill a really fine flour, then they should be able to handle the action, right? So anyway, but I want to say I was feeling it. It was pretty warm coming out. This is like, it's got maybe just like a teeny, like if I'm feeling it between my fingers, there's kind of an imperceptible, almost imperceptible grip to it. It is extremely fine. Like this is really good. So I don't know if I was trying to mill too fine first thing. Again, this is my first time doing it. Now there's going to be some grit, like some coarser stuff in the bottom. I'm just going to leave that. But yeah, I'm going to use this now in a recipe. I'm just not sure. I'm still not 100% sure what. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do my version of the Jacques Pepin Tibetan flatbread recipe. And so I'm going to go ahead and mix that up and get it into the oven. I have a pizza stone already preheating and ready, and yeah, this is just fantastic. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. And it was actually really fast. It only took like a minute or two. So yeah, this is totally doable. I could do this if I had to. Start milling all of our own flour myself. I absolutely could do it. And I might do it. So anyway, yeah, here we go. Let's go see how it performs in a recipe. Time to make some flatbread. This is a modified version of the Jacques Pepin Tibetan flatbread. I will link the YouTube video down below, which is the, I guess the recording of the PBS show, Jacques Pepin Fast Food My Way. And this is one of the recipes. I used to watch that show kind of when I was newly married. They're kind of old videos. It was an old show, but that was a really fantastically helpful series for me. Very much not vegan, as Jacques Pepin is very much not vegan. I feel like France is not vegan, but basically, I was able to still learn a lot from that show. And it's, you know, if anybody is looking for ways of cooking quickly, you could probably adapt it to veganism. It's a series that's worth checking out. But basically, I have modified it slightly. We need 1.5 cups of flour. His recipe called for all-purpose. I always use a whole grain flour. So today we're using the spelt I just ground. And I know that there's, you know, sometimes where you're like, oh, you need to use less, or there's little things to keep in mind when you're using freshly ground flours versus ones from the store. And I know that. I'm gonna try to see if I can just get away with just doing a simple recipe. I know how this normally turns out when I make it otherwise, so I'm going to be able to judge the results. But now we need a teaspoon of baking powder. This is my baking powder I make myself. I have a video on the channel, but there's the recipe. Like I am so terrible at this. Don't even watch my videos. Don't even watch them here. I'll just tell you everything. But yeah, there is a baking powder video on the channel if you want to check that out. But here is a teaspoon of salt I throw in to make it way more flavored. This is meant to go with dinner kind of, and then I always add like a heaping teaspoon of garlic powder. And basically that is it for your dry ingredients. And now we want to mix up the rest of it. Just give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. I grabbed a wooden spoon. So this is 1 cup of water. I'm just gonna go in here and see what it looks like. So like I said, I know what it normally looks like. We'll see if it looks the same. Yeah, that basically looks the same. So you're looking for something that is very wet, but not like, it's still a dough. Not like that you could make it into pancakes. Like it's still a dough, but it's very wet. So that looks good. But actually, it's funny. It's not even sticking to the side of the bowl. That is funny. Normally it really does. That is different. Okay, let's go ahead and get this on the baking stone. I've actually had that baking stone preheating this entire time. And also, just as an FYI, I do like wood because it's aesthetic and it makes me feel pretty and happy and nice. But the other reason that I really love to use wood in my cooking videos, in case anybody's like, you're so pretentious using wood. Nobody said it yet, but maybe it will come up because sometimes people can be jerks. But anyway, this is because the sound it's much quieter. You're not getting bowl scrape sound, and it's a lot quieter, like dipping. So the bowl is wood, the thing is wood. So that's the reason I use a lot of wood when I'm filming. But also, like I said, I do like it, but there is a practical reason behind it. Okay, let's grab the pizza stone. All right, here's how I oil my stone. I don't use sprays because I think they're wasteful, but also I think they go everywhere. Basically, we're getting just a teeny tiny amount. I don't know if you can see that. It's like just the tiniest amount. And basically this is just to keep the thing from sticking. It was maybe a half a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon, almost nothing, spread out over the stone. It's also going to help keep this stone seasoned, but we're going to keep that bread from sticking. This is an olive oil. For me personally, I find that extra virgin olive oil seems to be the most non-stick of all cooking oils. I don't like avocado oil because it's the exact opposite. I feel like avocado oil is what you use if you want everything to stick everywhere. But anyway, we're gonna get this on here. It already smells amazing hitting that hot stone. Just gonna spread it out. So that is the only oil, was just to keep it from sticking. If you really don't want to use any oil whatsoever in your cooking, which is totally fine, maybe put down a parchment paper first. But yeah, that's how I do it. So this is actually not spreading as much as it normally does. A lot of times I can kind of get a ring all around, but you saw how it was in the bowl. It was really kind of stuck together, not even sticking to the bowl. So this already, I'm seeing a difference from using my normal flours, but it still smells amazing. And so we're just gonna we're gonna go with that. That's what we get this time. Okay, so what I also like to do is take minced garlic now. This is garlic that's much larger. It looks more like what you're probably used to seeing something like that with minced onion. If you have not yet discovered minced garlic, OMG OSH, it's amazing. And then I like to do a little basil. So this is, I didn't just do this because I'm cooking, although that was a lot. I didn't just do this because I'm doing this for the video. I do this even when I'm not filming. I get everything ready because I want to get this back in the oven as quickly as possible. So now I just did garlic, basil, and salt over top, and we're gonna get it back in the oven. You're gonna give that 15 minutes, and then we're going to see what we're looking at. Hopefully it'll be yummy. We did 15 minutes at 400 degrees on a preheated pizza stone. If you were just doing this like on a baking sheet, you'd probably want to leave it in for closer to 20 minutes, but this is plenty done. It's a nice, soft, kind of chewy, like wet little bread. So it's not going to be like a biscuit or something dry, but basically you can see what it looks like once we cut into it. But while we're waiting for it to cool a little bit, let's chat about the grinder. All that experience was kind of fantastic. It was a lot faster and easier than I expected it to be. I have put it off for so long because I was thinking I needed a really big chunk of time to really like sink into the project and take all of this time, especially with filming and all of that. And it took virtually no time whatsoever. So I think it took maybe less than 2 minutes to grind 3 cups of spelt grains into probably roughly 5 cups of spelt flour. I mean, it was just so easy. I can totally see, so this is where it normally lives on my counter. And so I can totally see being able to just stick the bowl under and grind stuff with it living over there before I go ahead and bake, like just grind fresh and bake. I can totally see that happening. It was really easy. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to do some more experimentation and film a little more on the channel. One thing I did want to mention, I remembered after the fact, is I do know now, I remember reading that sometimes if you want a really fine flour, it's best to crack the grains first to get them to the kind of cracked wheat stage where you actually loosen the stones a bit to get the grain coming through basically just like broken up a bit rather than ground down into any kind of flour. And once it's at that stage, you then can run it back through the mill at a much finer setting to get yourself a fine flour. And I wonder if that would help avoid the kind of the overheated flour. Oh, it wasn't like hot to the touch, but it was definitely warm coming out of the mill. And if it would avoid, I don't know, like if it would be even faster. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to experiment with that. I don't know if I need to film that or not. But yeah, anyway, like I said, overall, fantastic little thing. And I think this thing is cool. Yeah, I just picked it up with my hand off of the stone. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cut into that and we'll see what we got. It smells amazing. Okay. So it did come right off. It's definitely nice and soft. So my husband actually prefers this cooked a lot. So I might have even gone 20 minutes on the pizza stone. I don't necessarily mind it at this kind of stage. When it's cool enough, you know, you can just rip pieces off. Actually, maybe I'll just rip it rather than cutting it. But yeah, oh wow, it's got a really beautiful little structure in there. You can tell that it has risen a bit. It is definitely like I said, it is more of a wet bread. Even when you are using store-bought flour, this is never, it's never going to be the texture of a biscuit. It's always going to be a bit moist. It's really good. Gosh. I'm not actually sure that I detect any real difference from what it normally is. It was different mixing and laying it out. It behaved differently. It was holding together a lot more. But overall, it's not any different. You know what it reminds me of is like if you had chicken and dumplings. It's like dumplings, kind of the texture almost. It's not, but it's not quite that wet. So anyway, you just have to try it for yourself. You might not like it. We really love it. This is super handy, like Jacques Pépin was talking about in his video, for those nights, say you are gonna make a nice, like a stew, a really thick stew, and then you realize you don't have any bread in your house. And so I like to whip this up on nights like that, just to have something to sort of put in our soup, because we do like to have a hunk of bread with a stew, and it's very quick to put together. You saw how fast it was to put together, and then it's fast to bake. Just if you're using the stone, you just sort of have to preheat the stone, but that's not that big of a deal. So anyway, I love this. Let me know if you try it. Like I said, it's very good. But actually, this is very salty. So that is one thing I'm noticing. It tastes way saltier than it normally does. Oh, you know, I wonder if it's because, hold on, let me change the angle. I'm gonna stop eating and change the angle. It's hard to film in that position, but you know, normally like I was saying, I normally get a bigger, it's bigger on the stone. So now I'm just wondering if because it's smaller, obviously, if it's a bit smaller in size, then the amount of salt would probably need to be reduced. So I guess moving forward, I'll either do 2 cups of flour, but that might mess up the water ratio. So I think actually moving forward, I'll do like 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, maybe half a teaspoon of salt in the recipe, and then it won't taste quite so salty. It is pretty salty at this point. So yeah, I would definitely suggest making that change. But anyway, it's really good, and I want to keep eating it. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Hopefully you enjoyed that. You got anything out of it. If you are a veteran electric grain mill user and you have tips or things you'd like to share down below, don't hesitate to do so. I think a lot of the times, if I were honest, I think most of the people watching me are way smarter and more experienced than I am. And the comments are always a gold mine of wisdom and experience, and I always learn so much from those comments. So definitely check out the comments below my videos and you'll be super educated. Possibly even more educated than you are watching my videos. It's like I said, I'm seriously terrible about this. Just don't even watch my videos. Just don't even watch them. Okay, as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Please watch my videos. Bye. All right, I'm beginning to taste the spelt. The more I eat it, the more I like it. The spelt is delicious. I'm super excited to have a source of spelt moving forward. Yeah, this is amazing. I'm really happy with that and the way that turned out. Okay. I'm seriously going now. Bye.